Hi, and welcome to the Intervention channel, or welcome back. I'm Steve Bruno. The subject of this video is psychiatric evaluations, specifically as they relate to an intervention or post-intervention with the person immediately arriving at a treatment program. I don't think that anything I'm saying would contradict a psychiatrist unless he or she belongs to a very big group of psychiatrists who like to apparently just medicate everything away for the people that they're seeing. Well, take this medication, take that medication. There's a lot of that out there. Say, well, he's in psychosis. We'll take this medication. Well, he's suffering from deep depression. Okay, there's a medication for that. You don't want to get your addict or alcoholic into a situation where he's using and drinking and also taking an antipsychotic, an antidepressant. That's a contradiction. Those drugs are not designed for that, for one thing. For another thing, piling more medication on top of drugs that are already altering his endocrine system, his dopamines, his serotonin, depleting him from all the vitamins and minerals in his body. There is no medication that is going to fix that. You can only get the person into a program, get them stabilized, and then if you want to look at their mental state, you can do so after they've had a chance to come in for a landing, handle some of the things they need to handle in real life. And, you might be amazed at what can actually be handled and what will vanish when the work is actually done. So you want to be careful for that. But in terms of the evaluations themselves, the discussion about medication, piling it on top of drugs that are already being used, dovetails into this conversation about psychiatrically evaluating somebody who's actively using. When I was actively using, you could have diagnosed me with any number of things. Of course, I was manically depressed. Manic simply means above normal, right? It means more than what might be considered normal. Or extreme, right? Extreme depression. Of course I was extremely depressed. I was on drugs. I was betraying everybody I loved. I was betraying myself. Had no sense of honor. My integrity was out the door. Any kind of ethics that I had at any point in my life were gone. For instance, this is another example of this. When I was on meth, I could have been easily diagnosed with probably schizophrenia or psychosis. I was on meth. I was paranoid. The meth was causing me to be paranoid, was causing me to act in a schizophrenic way. In other words, I would behave one way toward certain people and another way toward others, and another way when I was alone, and another way toward this group or this person, that person, whatever. And it was because of the drugs. So in terms of, and the other thing is you have to be careful what you ask for when getting a psychiatrist involved, especially at a hospital, because they may commit your loved one. And if you've ever visited a psych ward or been in a psych ward, that's not a solution to a drug problem, okay? And if you haven't visited one, go visit one. See if you can even get in. Most of them are locked, will not take visitors. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, you go into those places and people are not healthy there. They're not doing well. I did an intervention, I forget what city it was, but it was around here somewhere in Southern California. And the mother decided to handle her son, who was acting in a psychotic manner because of all the drugs he was on, to get him into a psych ward, which she did successfully. I advised her against it. I was making progress with him. She said, no, I've had it. He's going to a psych ward. She didn't have any idea what was there for him. What was there, she reported a couple days later with great regret, was a locked ward, very sterile, a TV in the corner, people staring at the TV, and her son, whom she then visited subsequent to his arrival by her hand, was that he was sitting there drooling. They had him on so many medications. So while in some cases you do have to do a 5150, in other words, a 72-hour hold or a psychiatric hold, you have to be careful what you ask for, like I said, before engaging in psychiatric medication or some more extreme measures. A healthy person is someone who is free from drugs and able to handle life on life's terms, right? The massive amount of depression that addicts often are feeling is most often not because of some sudden chemical imbalance, but because they have done things that go against their own native values. And those things need to be addressed. They need to face those things. Does it take longer than going down to Walgreens and getting a prescription? Yeah, it takes work, but the work is worth it. I can tell you from firsthand experience. I went into my 7th program on Prozac. They got me off of it. I did weeks of work to unload my past transgressions, and my depression melted away. Not that I don't get depressed sometimes. I mean, everybody gets depressed sometimes. It's a healthy response to things that may have hurt you, things you may have lost, people that you may have lost. It's healthy to have depression in one's life. But to have it on an ongoing basis for an addict or alcoholic, again, is most often the result of actual events and things, even though they may not be able to identify those things specifically on command. It doesn't mean that they suddenly have an organic brain problem or something like that. They need to do the work to return to the land of the living. I believe that evaluations of a person's mental state should only be done after they are in as good a mental state as they can be brought to through treatment. First of all, their arrival. Second of all, detox if they need it. Third of all, beginning to take responsibility for their life, and then ultimately taking responsibility for their whole life and unloading the things that are weighing them down. Then, if there's something obviously wrong with them and they're all over the map, whatever, maybe those are remnants of their addiction and they need a little bit more work. I mean, most addicts, to be honest with you, need a year of good counseling, therapy, unloading things, handling things, taking responsibility to get into really solid shape. So don't think it's going to happen overnight either. I encourage you to take the harder road of more work, more counseling, more therapy, not the easy road of medication. And I will end off on this. You can sedate your emotions with a medication, but you cannot find honor, integrity, identity, ethics, morality, or responsibility in a bottle of pills. Those are the things that have been lost. That's the actual list of things. Okay, people don't suffer depression because of a Prozac deficiency. They suffer depression because they have lost these things. So focus on that list, right? Responsibility, ethics, integrity, a sense of honor, a connection with their own identity as the path to a happier, better life, and a chance at true happiness, which includes overcoming depression, overcoming the obstacles in life on life's terms, right? That's what I do, and that's what you can do, and that's what your loved one can do as well, right? So, okay, enough said. I appreciate your visiting here. Hopefully you've learned something. If you'd like to read more, I have a whole chapter on psychiatric evaluations in my book. It's called More Than Hope. Intervention Guidebook. It's on Amazon and Kindle. I'll put a link below. You can also ask me questions in the comments section. And that's it on psychiatric evaluations for now. If you want more data on it, feel free to contact me at stevebruno.com. Just fill out the contact form. This is the Intervention channel. I am Steve Bruno, and thanks for watching.